Okay, so at this point in the project, you have calculated the cost of entertainment. So you have to choose, do you prefer the live band at $600 flat rate, no matter how many guests you have, or a DJ, which could cost you this amount on the low side if you have 200 guests versus 300 guests on the high side. Okay, you also have calculated all of your catering. So if you were to choose GWs, on the low side, it will cost you this amount. And the high side, it would cost you this amount. Versus Joe's Italian, on the low side, it would cost you this amount here, versus on the high side, this amount here. Okay, you've also already calculated how much it's going to cost you for decorations. So if you have 200 guests, you'd need this many packages of streamers, versus 300 guests, you would need this much as far as packages of streamers. Okay, so the last thing you have to do is just basically write up a report of everything you've done. So part one is you need to determine which of the entertainment and catering you want and tell me why. Okay, for both a goal of 300 students and the possibility of 200 students, which we've already talked about. So you basically tell me what your choices are and why. Number two, you need to tell me how many streamers you're going to purchase, depending on if it's 200 guests versus 300 guests. Okay, and then you are going to use mathematical reasoning to justify your supports for your decisions. So basically just tell me why, okay? And then the last step it wants us to do is to determine the ticket price you will charge to break even in both scenarios, meaning if you have 200 guests, how much do you need to charge for tickets, or versus 300 guests, how much are you going to charge for tickets? So this is based on your choices here. So you have to have decided, are you choosing live music versus the DJ? That has to be decided. And are you choosing GWs or are you choosing Joe's Italian? Okay. So when you're going to decide your ticket price, this is what we're going to do. Okay. So it says you basically need to add up the cost of your entertainment plus your catering. Okay, so you're going to have to do this for both 200 guests versus 300 guests. So you're going to do, let's say you chose the DJ. Okay, the DJ, there's a low side and a high side. So what you're going to have to do is say, well, what's the cost on the low side? So on the low side, I would take my low price for my DJ, plus we'll say you chose GW's barbecue, plus my low side for GW's barbecue. Add it up, and that'll give me the total cost of that event. Okay, once I have that total cost, that's for 200 guests, I would take that cost and divide it by 200. And that would be my ticket price on the low end if I have 200 guests. Then I would go back and do the same thing on the high end. I would say, okay, if I chose the DJ, what was my price for the DJ on the high end? Plus the price of catering on the high end for GWs, get that total, that would be my cost. Now, on the high end, I have 300 guests. So I take cost divided by 300, and that would give me my ticket price for those choices. So you need to take your choices, whichever choices you chose, and calculate the high end ticket price and the low end ticket price.